after all these years. After everything I've suffered. I wonder, why do I do this? It's not for fame. It's not for glory. It's not for recognition. It's not for money. Why do I do this? Because while some sit atop the fourth wall, others protect the foundation.
Hello and welcome to Way or No Way. Horse-faced cybernetic organism dressed up as Thor. God, I love comics. Beta Ray Bill was created by Walt Simonson and debuted in the issue of Mighty Thor number 337, 1983. In an interview, Walt Simonson had said, "One of the cool things about Thor was the enchantment around Mjolnir, and the original inscription. So I thought, that means that someone else could pick up the hammer and get this power if they're worthy." So Walt came up with the idea of Beta Ray Bill, a noble warrior designed to protect his home race, the Corbinites. When it came to designing the new character, Simonson wanted to challenge preconceived notions of what we think of when we visualize what a hero looks like. So he decided to make Bill look more villainous and monstrous in appearance. Sometimes it's the hideously deformed creature of superhuman size and strength, not the muscular, square-jawed, seemingly good-looking person in tights that can end up saving the day. And with character setup out of the way, today's episode will focus on a 3-issue miniseries called Beta Ray Bill, Godhunter. But first, a little bit of setup. In Stormbreaker, the saga of Beta Ray Bill, Galactus came to the planet of New Corbin. He appeared in the form of the Corbinites' version of the death god Ashta. Despite trying to defend themselves and desperately trying to survive Galactus' herald, the genocidal Stardust, the Corbinites were all but destroyed, save for a super-scientific MacGuffin called a meta-orb, which housed the disembodied souls of many of the citizenry. After a long and hard-fought battle with a demon named Astaroth, the meta-orb was taken from Bill by a seemingly benevolent entity who has not been revealed and is never seen again. And now with that long block of exposition out of the way, this is Beta Ray Bill, Godhunter. In Yokohama Harbor, Japan, a fishing boat captain argues with the Coast Guard about a subterranean quake causing a tsunami.
"Someone at the meteorological agency is playing you for a fool. It couldn't be calmer out here. That subterranean quake hasn't caused,
Suddenly, he spots a big-ass fuck you tsunami right in goddamn front of him. I'm no expert on subterranean quakes or anything, but how the hell do you miss something that fucking big when they just told you to be on the lookout for a tsunami or a giant wave? Screw the advisory, tell them to get the hell out of there! Thor and Beta Ray Bill appear overhead along with Bill's sentient ship, Scuttlebutt. Bill tells the ship to erect a force field to momentarily hold off the wave. He convinces Thor that to stop the wave completely, they have to strike it at the same time. Or, considering both have godlike command over the elements, they could just say, hey, wave, cut the shit. From there, Bill and Thor discuss the former's plan to hunt down and kill Galactus for the destruction of New Corbin. Since it's been established that Galactus is more of a force of nature than an outright villain, this is equal to a man looking to fist-fight a hurricane. Thor asks Bill if he really thinks he can win.
"Does it matter? What's right is right. What's wrong is wrong."
And in your case, what's right is not going after the mysterious figure that took the remaining Corbinites all the way back in Stormbreaker. No, you see, it's going on a revenge-fueled suicide mission. When the guy whose primary solution is hit things with a god-blessed hammer tries to talk you out of a fight, you know something's wrong. Bill asks Thor to join him, but Thor refuses, pleading for his friend to stay and help them save lives. But Bill hears none of it, taking to the stars. He makes a stop at the Peak, headquarters of S.W.O.R.D., a sister organization of S.H.I.E.L.D. that deals with extraterrestrial threats. He asks Special Agent Abigail Brand if she has heard of Galactus' latest whereabouts.
There's an understanding pretty much all of the pan-galactic community's extraplanetary intelligence bodies subscribe to. We share sightings of Galactus and his cronies. Think hurricane tracking. Everyone likes to know if he's in the neighborhood.
And of course you get the occasional few who just can't seem to notice that he's right outside the window getting ready to om-nom on a planet that's right in front of them. No, that still bugs me. How the hell do you miss a tsunami coming right at you when it's less than 100 friggin' feet away? Brand tells Bill that there was a sighting of Galactus, but before she gives him the info, she wants assurance that Galactus doesn't know Bill found out from her, lest he come after Earth and consume it in revenge. Lady, he's going after Galactus, not Tony Soprano. Galactus is supposed to be above such petty concepts as revenge. That's not to say he doesn't get pissed off, but dude considers us like unto amoebas. Insects barely worth his notice. The fuck does he care why someone is attacking him or who is helping him? He's pretty much going to be like,
Heralds, take care of that, would ya?
"Okay." Bill tries to assure her by placing Stormbreaker on her desk. Believe it or not, this is actually a plot point.
Only those who possess a truly noble spirit can lift it. Their numbers are scarce, but I am among them. I would not betray you. Could you lift it, Agent Brand?
1. Lifting Thor's hammer is not the same as Wonder Woman's magic lasso. It cannot discern truth from lies. It merely judges the worthiness of one's character. And while, yes, honesty and loyalty go a long way in establishing nobility, that leads me to number 2. You've never heard of a noble lie, have you? And number 3, what does essentially telling Abigail Brand, "I'm noble, you're not," have to do with anything? That's just being a horse's ass. Or face in this instance. Agent Brand asks him to help her take out a cosmic arms dealer and death dealer named the Voidian. Bill says he's met him before and decides to throw the job in for free, leaving him still indebted to Brand. Speaking of, Bill flies off to a citadel where the Voidian works and is doing a "you have outlived your usefulness" to a random hench alien. Bill bursts in, and the Voidian tries to kill him with a pair of black holes, threatening to rip him apart. Bill manages to destroy the Voidian's machine, ending the double singularities. We move to the planet of Ethan 9, a species that is evacuating due to the approaching Galactus. They tried to escape detection from the Heralds by sending their evacuation ships in all directions. The last ship tries to make a break for it, but is stopped by Stardust, Herald of Galactus, and overall genocidal maniac. Remember how I said that Galactus is supposed to be above good and evil? Stardust hunts down anyone who manages to evacuate and brutally murders them as heretics for not staying and dying. He also has no respect for anybody who fights back. He's a charmer. Think of the universe's enormity. Think how few have the privilege of being consumed by Galactus. You had a chance of glory. Now, thanks to your defiant cowardice, you have mere death. I would give my entire species to have Galactus inside me. I mean, to be inside Galactus. I mean, to have Galactus eat me. To come inside Galactus. Don't judge me, meatbags! Stardust prepares to destroy the escaping Ethan ship when Bill blocks his blast. Scuttlebutt opens fire on Stardust, allowing Bill a chance to regroup. He tells Scuttlebutt to get their plan ready to go, also telling the remaining Ethans to flee as fast as they can.
This is going cosmic.
What's next? I'm gonna need some space? Hope you didn't make any big planets? This is gonna be out of this world? Ha 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 ha! Never say that again! Stardust recovers and hits Bill full blast, dazing him. Bill slams Stardust into the planet and starts wailing on him with Stormbreaker, causing the planet to tremble. Scuttlebutt lets Bill know that the Ethan ship has escaped, but Galactus has arrived. Stardust mocks Bill, saying he can't kill Galactus directly. Bill admits this, but then activates something in the Voidian's armory that causes the planet to explode, denying Galactus his feast. Bill then vows that any planet he can't defend from Galactus, he'll destroy. his ultimate goal being to deprive Galactus of planetary nourishment. Galactus, peeved that he was denied his third breakfast, tells another herald to go and
End this.
Said herald approaching Scuttlebutt is none other than Norrin Radd, the Silver Surfer, who pleads with Bill to stop his quest. Bill refuses, saying the Surfer is welcome to try and stop him, though. The denizens of Ethan 9 return to the Ethan Prime homeworld. The captain of the escape ship described their rescue by Bill when they are interrupted by
Rejoice! Stardust comes to your tiny pointless sphere with the greatest of tidings!
Is it a comic book event in which heroes actually have a good reason to fight each other instead of just idiotic posturing?
I bring news of glory! Form choirs! Sing hallelujahs! Offer exultations!
Ooh, the suspense is killing me. Is it money? Houses? Gold? A Wonder Woman movie?
You are to be the latest meal for the all-consuming Galactus!
Damn it! This always happens. Well, that'll teach me to get my hopes up.
And those who turn from this honor and run shall be pursued and suffer mere death.
You know, you have to admire somebody who loves their job. Although, it's not as admirable when your job is finding planets for a gigantic purple cosmic disco god to devour. And it's much less admirable when you outright and viciously murder anybody who escapes. Meanwhile, Silver Surfer and Bill continue battling as Scuttlebutt flies towards Ethan Prime. Surfer wants to talk things out with Bill. Surfer, you serve Galactus, thus your hands are bloody red. What do we possibly have to talk about? Well, for starters, you could talk about your thoughts on the new Doctor, the ongoing scandal of Russia's anti-gay policies, the further separation between the haves and the have-nots, or you could just punch each other into oblivion because it's all you know how to do. Unsurprisingly, they chose the latter, Surfer saying Bill knows nothing of Galactus, and Bill chiding the statement as excusing Galactus's actions. Surfer manages to use his board to get the drop on Bill and starts beating him senseless. Back on Ethan Prime, the Ethans start donning helmets of a shared consciousness and releasing something from their planetary vaults, in an attempt to thwart Stardust. Meanwhile, Surfer states the obvious in that Bill can't physically match him, but Bill is undeterred. I am haunted by visions. I close my eyes and I hear the torture of dying Corbin. In the destruction's aftermath, I even saw some of their essences trapped in an artifact and spirited away. No, that totally did happen. You destroyed the last vestige of Astaroth and were on the verge of dying when a mysterious figure took the orb and sent your essence into the body of a dead mugger. You also said that wherever your people are, they're safe, and you seem to be at peace with that. In fact, let's take a look at the next statement. Listen to those words. Was that real? The product of a grieving mind? How am I to know? Because you pretty much stated that you knew in Stormbreaker. Had this story happened right after the events of Stormbreaker, I would have understood the placement of this story, but with it being well over 4 years after the fact, and with so much happening in the Marvel Universe in between, this whole hunt for Galactus just seems out of place. Bill, huddled over his hammer Stormbreaker like it's the One Ring, asks the Surfer if a noble being would allow Galactus to happen to anyone else. He then tells the Surfer about the Ethan's impending doom, asking Surfer if he even gives a damn. The question causes the Herald to pause long enough for Scuttlebutt to blast Surfer with missiles. Bill grabs onto his ship and rides along as it tries to stall the Silver Surfer with space mines. They reach Ethan Prime to discover that the inhabitants have unleashed an impressive cache of weapons. After the Silver Surfer retreats, Bill speaks to the ruler of Ethan Prime. It's revealed that they were once an oppressive empire, but decided that dominion and conquest were no longer desirable, so they resolved to enter seclusion. As the Ethans themselves are naturally predisposed to cruelty and violence, they decided to use science to alter the brains of everyone on the planet to become more pacifistic. So, in other words, they performed a procedure that we humans would consider monstrous because of its ability to rob us of our free will, and we're supposed to find this admirable because they used to be world-conquering assholes? The Ethan leaders says that they are wearing helmets that artificially reinvigorate their aggressive tendencies, as well as their stockpile of weapons and war machines. Which I'm sure won't at all come back later to bite them and this plot in the ass. While Bill admires their newly regained artificial helmet-induced courage, he tells them they stand no chance against Galactus, and to flee the planet, wait until Galactus weakens, and then destroy him. The Ethan leader calls out the supposed noble warrior.
Bill, listen to yourself. If Galactus came to your people, would you give them such craven counsel?
He did. I wish I had. But I was too busy gloriously fighting in Ragnarok, willing to die in battle, when a disembodied Thor decided to chuck me into space just in time to see my species die. Thanks a lot, Oath Brother. So yeah, the honorable noble warrior who isn't afraid to die in battle is telling a race willing to die in battle to not die in battle and instead flee until Galactus is weak enough for them to basically kick him when he's down. Later, Scuttlebutt tells Bill that the chances of the Ethan's victory is about the same as the chances of Meatloaf being a world-renowned limbo champion. Bill considers joining them in the battle, but then says there has to be a way to ensure the Ethans survive and Galactus continues to starve. The Voidian then speaks to Bill. I am not like you, but I understand obsession, need, and sacrifice. And noble ends make all means noble. Nice try, buddy. But Bill's a hero, a noble warrior, even if he is a bit thick-headed. No matter what you say, there's no way he's going to take any advice from you. The next day, we see the Ethan leader covered in strange boils all over his fur and skin as Bill returns.
Calamity strikes! A sickness sweeps our world! Has Galactus sent disease before him?
Of course, didn't you know Galactus always seasons his planets before devouring them?
Now, what you want to do is take a teaspoon of garlic and lightly sprinkle it over the planet's surface to give it a nice kick. After that, you want to take your butterbean and apply a coat of it all around the sides and undercarriage. This is going to be so delicious once it's done. Now, you take the paprika, and then you...
Bill tells the Ethan leader that he's infected the people with a nanoplague and he will give him the cure only if they leave their homeworld and allow Bill to destroy it. As one could imagine, the Ethan leader is extremely pissed off about this. The leader of the Ethans decides to take Bill on his offer, and originally I was kind of pissed off that they didn't just fight and die as they were, but I assume being a nanoplague it meant that the Ethans were dying, and at which case I can understand them taking Bill's offer. Better to die fighting than die helpless and sick, I suppose. Also, Bill, what's to stop him from ordering his robots to just shoot you and take the cure? I mean, granted you don't want Galactus to feed on another planet, but are you really willing to kill a species in order to do it? This goes to prove you're not doing this out of a sense of justice for your people. All you are is a horse-faced Captain Ahab hunting a big purple human-shaped whale. Bill blows up their homeworld shortly thereafter. He tells Scuttlebutt to send them the cure and continue the pursuit of Galactus. He sits down at the command chair and tries to lift Stormbreaker, only to find that he cannot. The hammer has deemed him unworthy. Bill sits on his command chair, his head in his hands. Almost like blackmailing an already desperate species into evacuating their planet just so you can blow it up was a bad idea. I imagine the reader's having a good face palm as well. Galactus rests on an asteroid cluster while Stardust and Silver Surfer bring him and any reader who didn't catch issues 1 and 2 up to speed.
Very well, my heralds. This is what we will do. We are going to hold out our palms like this, and in an authoritative manner simply say, "Stop. Please." I would try the puppy dog eyes, but I accidentally annihilated the last planet I tried that with.
Meanwhile, back on Scuttlebutt, Bill has reverted to his original state, having lost the blessing of Stormbreaker. Scuttlebutt tells Bill that a small uninhabited planet is the next projected target, and Bill goes to intercept. Upon arrival, they find the Silver Surfer is there by himself. Bill heads down to the planet and attacks the Silver Surfer with the single goofiest set of guns I have ever seen. I mean, seriously, look at him. Take a look at this panel here. Even Surfer's looking like, dude, are you serious? Bill says he doesn't want to talk anymore, but Surfer begins to explain what happened to Galactus during the events of a Marvel Comics miniseries called Annihilation. He was apparently beaten down and strapped to a machine which forced him to destroy planets. However, he was unable to consume them, so Galactus drained all of his own reserve power to keep himself alive. Think of it as a weight loss camp run by R. Lee Ermey and Jillian Michaels' love child. And now you have the image of the two of them having loud, angry, screamy sex stuck in your head. This has been your recommended dose of nightmare fuel. Surfer then explains that the Ethans have mobilized their attack forces, and it's likely they'll succeed in killing Galactus. Bill, as well as myself, wonders why he's being told this. Surfer explains that if Galactus dies, he will explode, and all life within 42 light-years will be destroyed. Hearing about the densely populated planets nearby, Surfer tells him that between failing his quest and causing the deaths of countless billions, there's really no choice. Bill slams the ground in frustration.
Damn it! This was completely avoidable! If only Surfer had said something about this earlier!
Bill agrees and lets Galactus have the uninhabited planet. This is a battle won, Surfer, not the war. Actually, buddy, it is pretty much over. As massive and vast as space is, what are the odds that Galactus is just going to go to an uninhabited galaxy? You'd be waiting forever to find such a place, and more than likely he'd be at full power by that point. A drone from the Ethan Empire happens to catch Surfer and Bill's conversation and decides to press on with their attack anyway.
What of the explosion the Herald spoke? If he speaks truth, it's a glorious end for the Dominion. If he speaks lies, then we'll crucify the Planet Eater's corpse to the rubble of Ethan Prime.
Like to see how you crucify someone that large to what is essentially space dust by now. This might as well be nothing but 3 issues of Revenge, the most worthless of causes, written over and over and over again. It's like this comic is going out of its way to show how much of a waste of time Bill's journey for vengeance truly is. I mean, even if you can understand Bill wanting to spare others from the devastation that is Galactus, who is like unto a force of nature, you're really, really stretching here, because if that were the case, he'd be evacuating people in the projected path rather than actively trying to destroy him. Because that's what you do when faced with a force of nature. But then again, writers seem to oscillate between unstoppable force of the universe, beyond good and evil, to big-headed, big-helmeted giant purple people-eater. And he's about to be murdered by a group of bug-eyed gerbils wearing funny hats. I feel like I'm reading someone else's book report on Moby Dick that was written after he had had his head caved in by a tire iron. Bill watches as Galactus begins to feed, desperately trying to figure out a way to finish him off, when all of a sudden the Ethan warships arrive and begin overwhelming him and the Heralds. As Scuttlebutt says that Galactus' power is fluctuating and that they need to escape, Bill realizes he has to rescue the World Eater. Bill tells Scuttlebutt to uncouple his Beta Ray reactor core, which would increase his power, but would end up causing Bill to explode. He begins to glow with energy. Voidian calls him a fool, to which Bill says, "Perhaps, but this fool has remembered his path. Make no mistake, this was never mere revenge." Bullshit! Bullshit! Bill flies to the planet, smashing the Ethan's special Jihugic Galactus killer weapon, and stands atop the fallen space god. "Back, machines of the Ethan! The Planet Eater is under the protection of the son of Corbin! None bar he shall die today!" First off, why say that? If Galactus dies, he explodes, moron! And second, the Ethans hate you now, and they vastly outnumber you. And once Galactus feeds, he's going to wipe them out anyway, so your boast is hollow on all sides. Also, Galactus is under your protection, but only he is going to die today? What the fuck kind of sense does that make? Bill flies into a swarm of Ethan missiles, essentially, leaving Galactus time to feed on and destroy the planet. In record time, it seems.
Galactus has fed, and finds himself ill-pleased. There was not nearly enough seasoning on that planet. It was like absorbing the energy equivalent of cardboard.
Galactus wipes out the Ethans with a wave of his hand. Bill, his arms and legs destroyed, floats helplessly, telling Scuttlebutt to save whomever it can and get the hell out of there. Galactus takes Bill in his hand and shuts down his reactor before it explodes.
So, this is the creature who would unmake Galactus.
I suppose if we want to relate it to scale, it's kind of like me holding a dying fire ant. Stardust, bloodthirsty as ever, wants to kill Bill and banish him into a number of various hell dimensions. Probably one full of shrimp. Galactus holds off on the slaying to ask Bill why he went after him. Considering Galactus is a being with vast cosmic awareness, I'm going to assume he's asking the question for Bill's sake more than his own ignorance. I was to protect my people. They are gone. What purpose could I have but to end you? But not at this cost. My people would not wish their legacy written in ink so scarlet. Bill tells Galactus that the space god wouldn't understand.
You are wrong. In many ways you are wrong. The people of Corbin have not left this plane. Some spirits are still in this mortal world, trapped, distant, but they resonate faintly. I can see a cosmic thread, and from this Galactus can weave.
A Corbinite female, it seems. That's fine and all, buddy, but what about those other Corbinites you said were out there? Think you could use your cosmic awareness to tell me where they are?
Your people are gone no longer. Your destiny is yours once more.
Yeah, you just confirmed what I already knew, but could you tell me where they are?
Consider yourself lucky. For all my power, Galan of Ta will never be able to say the same. Heralds, Galactus hungers.
Look, I appreciate the gift and everything, but... Dude, wait, where are you going? Hey! Hey! Come back here! Come back here and tell me where my people are! Are you fucking kidding me? Galactus just pulled a dude you should totally get laid, bro, and gave him a woman. As a present. Oh, sweet, crispity, crunchity Jesus. After Scuttlebutt picks them up, Bill and T. Asha Ra, his new Eve, return to Earth and give Voidian over to Agent Brand at Sword. They head back to the ship, and Bill wants to return Stormbreaker to Asgard due to his dumb fuckery and near heel turn. Tiasha practically forces him to grab the hammer and lift it, giving him his Thor costume again, and proving that he's a good guy once more. And that's Beta Ray Bill Godhunter. Verdict? No way. I really wanted to like this story a lot more than I do. I really, really did. Even if it isn't apparent by now, I enjoy learning about lesser-known characters in DC and Marvel. But this story is absolutely pointless and a waste of time for all involved. Except for Bill, who gets rewarded with a woman for finally realizing his idiotic quest for revenge was, idiotic. Hey, glad you managed to go through your grief at the near destruction of your species 4 goddamn years later. Here, have a woman, on the house. The artwork is nicely done, and I get where they're going with it, but it's Moby Dick with Galactus as a giant purple space whale. And Bill's revelation of him being obsessed with revenge, and yes, Bill, it was mere revenge, comes off as the writers dropping anvils the size of fucking planets. For a much better Beta Ray Bill story, check out Stormbreaker, the saga of Beta Ray Bill. Even though the narrative tends to bottom out at the end, it's still a very enjoyable read. And that's all we have for today, so I'll see you guys next time.